Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Cross-outs can come from anywhere in the penitentiary, right? But it's especially hard when it comes from a person that works at the penitentiary, right? I'm going to tell you a story about folks that got crossed out by his boss. Like, he's a clerk, right? Now, in the penitentiary, clerk jobs are coveted jobs. Everybody wants to be a clerk, but everybody can't be a clerk because you got to have the skill set to do the job, right? So when a person gets a job as a clerk, a lot of people, I'm telling you, a lot of people in blue, and y'all know what I'm saying when I say people in blue. If you've been listening to the show, people in blue are people that are locked up, people in gray are the people that work at the prisons, right? But a lot of people in blue, they are jealous of the people that are clerks because they perceive that they have favor from the administration and they're allowed to do a lot of the things that they're not allowed to do. That's not necessarily true, but that's just how they see it, right? Now, check this out. It was this female, right? She was the boss, right? She was the counselor, right? And my brother, you know what I'm saying? He worked for her as a clerk, doing all kind of paperwork and stuff like that, typing up memos, filing papers, making sure that, people that needed things done. He kind of like monitored the flow of the traffic into the office, right? Made sure that, people weren't running in and out of office and all that kind of stuff. Those are the type of unofficial type things that he did, right? He was very valuable to her, and she appreciated his work and all of that old kind of stuff, right? And they, from the outside looking in, you would think that they had more than a professional relationship, but they didn't. It wasn't nothing like that, right? But people that didn't work in the office, they'd look at it and they'd see it as something more than what it was, right? So this caused a lot of problems for him. So anyway, it was this one dude, right? Now, keep in mind, when I say my brother, I'm talking about in the past, one of the guys, right? Now, it was this guy that he was just as smart, just as capable as folks was, right? But it was one thing about him that stood out. He was vice lord. Now, if you know anything about the history of vice lords and gangsters, back in the day, I don't really know what it is these days, but back in the day, vice lords and gangsters just didn't jive together. You know what I'm saying? They didn't get down together. They would speak and keep it cordial, right? But at any time, it could pop off and then pocket knives come out. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it was. It's just what it was. Now, this particular vice lord, he wanted that job that folks had. He wanted to be a clerk. You know what I'm saying? But he couldn't get in that office and become a clerk unless folks was out, because they only allow one clerk in certain positions. You feel what I'm saying? So this is what he did. Check this out. This counselor, she was dead cool. She would help anybody do anything that needed to be done as far as work related. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't the type to go beyond that. But this dude was persistent. And he would get out. And he caught her one day when she was in one of those moods where, she'd been arguing with her boyfriend or something like that, as the story came to me anyway. She'd been arguing with her boyfriend. So he was right there at a time that she felt vulnerable and wanted to open up and just vent and get it out and talk to somebody, right? That wasn't uncommon at all. That's just how things are, right? So she was telling him all of these different things about what her boyfriend wasn't doing and how things were not working out between him and her and how he was just a useless piece of crap. You know what I'm saying? And so he seized on that. And what he started to do was say, well, look, how can I help you? Now, keep in mind, he's locked up. So it's not too many things that he can do physically, but he can be there for emotional support. And look, anybody out there, if you're in a relationship, you already know emotional support kind of outweighs the physical thing in a lot of situations. A lot of people would rather have that than the physical support. You know what I'm saying? Well, you want both, but the point is that a lot of times, when you have that ear of somebody to talk to, that's more valuable than the fucking, if you understand what I'm saying. So he was there for, so he started popping up every day in the office. And she would tell, bro, don't worry about it, because he would just be sitting in there talking. And they talked with the door open. It wasn't an issue of the door being closed and he was trying anything, right? But as time went on, she started to open up to him a little bit more. And bro's peeping what's going on. He's seeing the move. You know what I'm saying? So understanding how things go in the penitentiary, because the counselor really didn't understand how things went in the penitentiary, even though she had been working in the penitentiary for a while. He pulls up on the vice lord and said, look, man, I don't know what you got going on, right? And I ain't no hater. But, man, you need to stay out of the area, man. You know what I'm saying? Because if something goes down, I'm going to get the blame. That's what folks was trying to tell him, right? So this vice lord, like I told you, vice lords and gangsters, they didn't see eye to eye about too many things back in the day. So the vice lord tell him, stay out of my business, man. Stay out of my business. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I ain't trying to do nothing to bring no harm to you, this, that, and the third, right? He's playing his role. So folks, he bring it to the table and he discussing it with us, right? And we're talking about it, right? And keeping in mind that, most of the time, we were getting bread, so we weren't trying to think about all the other issues that could disrupt the flow of the money, man. The economy's got to move at all costs, right? So here's the thing. So we tell him until something happens, man, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody finna move on dude, right? Let him do what he do. He'll burn out his own, you know what I'm saying? So folks wasn't too pleased with that. So he went on about his business. He still went out there doing his clerk job and all this and that. And then one day when he walked in out there, because he had been out of the office, he can go in and out of the office. He go to other units and all that old kind of stuff, right? But one day when he walked back into the office, the door is shut. So now, keep in mind, you know what I'm saying, in the penitentiary now, ain't no such thing as privacy. So folks do what a lot of people do. He put his ear up on the door. And when he put his ear up on the door, he heard some things. Now, y'all know what fucking sound like. Now, he wasn't sure if they was actually fucking, but it sounded like. It sounded like. So he got his ear up on the door. Now, he's thinking like, damn, what's really going on? So he pulls up off the door because he heard them moving around and he pulled up off the door and he dropped back down in the chair in his little cubicle, right? You know what I'm saying? But he had a little office right across from the counselor's office. You feel what I'm saying? It really wasn't an office. It was more like a broom closet that they converted into an office. You feel what I'm saying? So now he's back over in there. He's sitting down. And his door has to always stay open. Inmates not allowed to shut a door like that. You feel what I'm saying? Especially if they can't see in there. So his door had to always stay open. So he's in there. He's typing on the typewriter, minding his business, right? But he really ain't minding his business. His ears are wide open like a smoker trying to hear what's going on over there, but he can't really hear. Now the door cracks. You know how when somebody's doing something slick, the door will crack and then they'll ease it open a little bit just to see if they can see anybody and then they'll push it on open. That's how they open the door, right? But folks got his back turned to him just a little bit, but he could still see over his shoulder, okay, this is the move. So when the door goes all the way open, he spins around. And when he spins around in his chair, he sees the vice lord dude standing at the door, and then she's in the background. He can look. He's looking over his shoulder. He sees. Now, keep in mind, now in the penitentiary, pay attention to all the details. All the details count. So when he looked over the vice lord's shoulder, he sees her hair is all out of pocket and everything. So he's thinking one or two things. Either they were fucking or she was sucking. One of the two. You feel what I'm saying? Because your hair is not going to get out of balance unless you're doing some things. You feel what I'm saying? Either you on your back, moving around on that floor, or you on your knees, moving around with your neck. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, he turns back around. Now, keep in mind that folks ain't no hater, but he got a little rocks in his jaws about it. He got a little rocks in his jaw because he got his little feelings involved because now he's thinking, shoot, I've been out here all this time and she been with it and I ain't never cracked on her like that. Now, that's his fault. That's his fault. He wanted to make the move. He should have made the move, but he didn't. The vice lord did. You feel what I'm saying? But now, this is on a whole nother level. The whole area is in jeopardy now because folks, a lot of times, folks will have some dope head out there in the office. You feel what I'm saying? He'll hold our packages and stuff like that and put them out there. Best place to put the package. You feel what I'm saying? Back in the day. They're not going to search that office. So anyway, he come tell her. He said, man, vice lord violated me. I'm telling you, he violated me. And my number two was like, what you talking about? What'd he do now? You know, because I'm really frustrated with him because he sounded like a hater. You know what I'm saying? Even though dude was a vice lord, I ain't no hater. You feel me? But he sounded like a hater. He said, nah, folks, you ain't listening. You ain't understanding what's going on. I'm like, tell me what's going on then, man. He said, man, they was in there fucking or sucking or something, man. I said, how you know? He said the door was shut, and when they opened the door, man, I looked and seen her, man. She looked like she been doing something. I said, for real? He was like, yeah. Then I said this here, right? Look, because keep in mind, look, listen to me. I ain't trying to get too graphic because I ain't trying to mess up my money. You know what I'm saying? Getting monetized on this thing. You got to be careful with what you say. But I asked him, I said, look, did you smell anything? Then he looked at me. He's like, nah, I ain't smell nothing. And the reason I asked that is this, right? Because look, check this out. Y'all, look, all adults on this thing, right? Everybody listen, I'm sure you're over 18. And I'm pretty sure most of you done had sex. If you ain't had sex, you're probably thinking about it or you've seen it on the porn, right? But at the end of the day, if you're in a room and you're having sex, guess what? It's a certain smell that's going to be there. Y'all know what sex smell like. Probably one of the best smells in the world if it's clean, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. I know y'all know I'll go there in a minute, but I ain't gonna go there, right? But so anyway, I said, did you smell anything? He said, nah, folks, I ain't smell nothing. I said, so you don't really know if they were doing anything there, right? He was like, man, folks, I'm telling you, they was doing something in there. I said, okay. I said, so if they was doing something, so what's that got to do with us? He said, man, we don't need that kind of heat out there. And I said, folks, you sound like a hater. He said, folks, this ain't about hating. He said, man, that Vice Lord dude don't need to be out there, man. He don't need to be out there. I tell him to go on and step out of the room, right? Me and my number two, we sitting back and talking. I didn't want folks to know that I agree with everything that he said, but see, folks be overreacting. You know what I'm saying? And he'll want you to go to war about any and everything. But see, I got to think about the economy. The penitentiary economy is vital to peace on the compound. I'm telling you, if the money ain't moving, people getting pissed. And I'm thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? In addition to what folks is talking about, because I agree with him. If a vice lord done penetrated the area, then that's going to be a problem. Because if he can come and go in that office area, he going to get to snooping one day, possibly. And if he gets to snooping one day and he find that pack, we going to have a real problem. So now we got to deal with this. So I go to the brother that's over the vice lord. I go to the 5-star. And I'm just kicking it around with him. I said, man, look here. I think we might have a problem coming on, right? He said, what you talking about, Joe T? Now, me and him, we talking respectful to each other. We out back walking laps on the track. I said, I think we might have a problem, bro. He like, what's going on, Joe T? I said, look here, man. One of your brothers done stepped into the area of one of my brothers, right? He said, man, you know, I heard about that, right? I heard bro out there in the office all the time, this, and that. The Vice Lord Drew said, he said, what is he doing out there? I said, man, I don't know what he's doing, but folks thinking he got something going on with the gas, right? Now, when you the heads, you can have an open conversation like this, right? You feel what I'm saying? Because both of us trying to analyze what's the benefit to us and what's the risk. You feel what I'm saying? So he's listening to me, and I'm listening to him, and he understands exactly what I'm saying, right? We got to protect the economy. Now, if bro out there and he doing this thing, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a hater. If folks can't secure the area, that's on him. You feel what I'm saying? But I don't want no vice lord in the area where my dope is at. Period. Under no circumstance. Now keep in mind, back in the day, we ain't had no cell phone. It would have been a whole nother level if it had been cell phones involved. But we just talking about dope and pocket knives at this particular time, right? Back in the day. So the vice lord brother, he told me, he said, look here. I'm going to holler at him and see what's going on and see if we can figure out something. So the 5-star, he go back and he hollered his brother. He come back and holler at me later on. Now, keep in mind, I'm not believing everything he tell me. He the opposition. I'm not going to believe everything because he ain't going to believe everything that I'm telling him. We both playing chess at this thing. You feel what I'm saying? So he come back and tell me, he said, bro told me he ain't up to nothing, man. He just out there be talking to her. He said, folks be getting all jealous about this and that and that and this, right? He don't want him out there. So, okay, now I know something going on because he come with a whole cover story. I know folks going to come to me. Folks ain't going to tell me no lie. If he saw her all out of whack, that mean they were doing something. He ain't going to give me no bullshit. So I know the vice lord dude, he trying to shuck me now. So I said, that's what's up. I said, I'm going to go back and holler at bro, man. We're going to see if we can work this out right. Because if bro hating on the vice lord brother, I ain't finna have that either, right? I ain't no hater. But at the same time, I know vice lord brother didn't believe nothing that I was saying either, right? Because we trying to figure out the benefits and the risks to both of us. So I go back and I holler at my number two. I ain't holler at folks that's got the problem. Then you know what I'm saying? I holler at my number two. I said, look, we got a problem, man. And I think it's going to come down to us having to go to war with these dudes, man, to get them up out that office. He said, man, we don't need to be going to war about somebody going out in the office fucking on no council. She the police. We don't care nothing about it. He said, folks should have took in and went on and took care of his business and we'd have had her. But now he done let the vice lord dude come up in and now he got her. You feel what I'm saying? I said, yeah, I feel what you're saying, but that dog done already went past the line now. Ain't nothing we can do about that. So check this out. While we trying to figure out what to do, all of a sudden the police come in. Now we got dope out there in the office and everything. He hid everywhere. Now all of a sudden here come the police. They got handcuffs on folks. They got him sitting out in the E-Pod, you know what I'm saying, the Bay Area, right? If you don't understand what that means, then you ain't never been to the penitentiary, right? But here's what it is. The building is divided. You got one side and then you got a middle area and then you got the other side, right? Now, the middle area is what we call the pod area. You know what I'm saying? The Bay Area, right? Where That's where the offices are at and all that old kind of stuff. And the unit manager, the people that run the building, that's where they're at. They're kind of like in the middle, so they can go to each side quickly. You feel what I'm saying? So they got bruh sitting out in the chair in the pod, in the eBay area, right? So we walk out, we look at him. We can't go out there, right? Because, they'll start snatching all this up. So we go out there. So I look at him and I whisper to him, I said, what's going on? He shrugged his shoulders like, I don't know, folks. I don't know what's going on. So a few minutes later, the police come back out. Now, they got her behind them. And she's like, yeah, what's going on? This and that. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, they get folks up. They walk him out the building. He going to the back. That's to the hole, right? I'm like, damn, what's going on? So I go to the D-board dude, right? The dude that work on the D-board. I know he going to be able to go in the back and find out what's going on with folks. So I go holler at him and let him know, look, I need to know what's going on ASAP. ASAP. He said, I got you, Joe T. So he goes back there to see somebody else, but while he's back there, he go holler at bro. He said, man, what's going on? Now, when bro got back there, they told him, you pin an investigation for solicitation of staff. Now, if you don't understand what solicitation is, let me explain it to you, right? Solicitation of staff is when an inmate done tried to holler at a person that works here in a sexual way, get some kind of favor. You know what I'm saying? Now, sometimes it don't have to always be sex. It can be about money too, but it's that interaction. You know what I'm saying? They don't allow that. Zero tolerance in the penitentiary about that. I'm telling you now. They see that as a threat to security. So when bro telling the D-board, man, all this old kind of stuff, right? I'm like, when he come back and tell me, I'm like, dang. I said, now, folks didn't tell me that. Folks didn't tell me that. And this is me and my number 2 talking, right? I said, he didn't tell me nothing about none of that. So folks, my number 2 was like, well, if he didn't tell you that, then it didn't happen. It didn't happen. He said, somebody lying, man. This ain't making no sense. It wasn't no advantage to folks not to tell you what was going on. I said, you right. I said, you right about that. So I go holler at the D-board, man. No, I'll take it back. I send my security. I send him. Because at this point, I got to start looking, you know what I'm saying? I got to be on the outskirts because anything can go wrong and I ain't trying to get snatched up. So I send my head of security over to holler at the D-board dude. He go over and holler at him and bring the report back. He said, look, they're going to keep him back there for about 7 days talking to him. And when they figure out what's going on, they can either write him up or they're going to let him out. I said, okay then. I said, man, we need to know everything that's going on. Everything that y'all doing. You feel what I'm saying with this investigation? He said, I got you. So here we go. Now my head of security, he's staying on the D-board dude every day. He want to know what's going on, what's being said, what they doing, what they talking about, this and that. In the meantime, in the between time, I go back to the 5-star. I said, look, bro. I said, something ain't right here, man. Something ain't making sense. I don't know the missing piece of the puzzle, but I got a suspicion that your brother's involved, man. And if your brother's involved, you already know what this means. It's going to be some problem. But also, we got dope head back at it we can't even get to. Because if we go back there, then everybody's going to see the move. We can't go back and we don't have no legitimate reason to be back there because folks in the hole. Can't go holler at her and get her to do it because she ain't supposed to know nothing about it, right? So now, the vice lord dude, he going back there every day. She even got him doing some work. Like he the clerk now. So we looking at like, man, it's the cross-out move. They done cross folks out. They done crossed them out. So my head of security, he go back holler at the D-board, man. He come back. It's been about 3 or 4 days now. He said, man, they got a note. Your brother done wrote this gal a note. I said, hell no. I said, can you get a copy of the note? He said, I'm going to try, man. He said, but they ain't wrote him up yet, so I ain't got all the evidence that they got against him yet. But this is just what my boss man told me. I said, all right, look at the note. Tell me what the handwriting look like. You know how to describe it to me. He said, man, I'm going to get a look at the note. So he go back, he get a look at the note. He come back and tell me, he said, man, Joe T, it ain't a handwritten note, it's typed note. I said, oh, hell no. Folks ain't that stupid to type no note. He ain't typed no note. And I understand what that's like because I've been accused of that myself. And I'm going to get into that another time, but I ain't going to do it right now. But look, I said, man, folks ain't typed no note. He said, man, look here, man. It's looking like it's bad for him, man. Looking bad for him. I said, okay. Can you find out when and where all of this supposed to happen? You know what I'm saying? What day was this? So he go find out and all this and that. And the day that he come back and tell me, folks wasn't even out there. He was in and out of the office, but he wasn't out there back there long enough to do all that. So I tell him, I said, look, man, it can't be. Ain't no way that happened. You feel what I'm saying? Ain't no way that happened. So long story short, we get to talking. It's starting to leak out, because the vice lords, they running their mouth. It's starting to leak out. Dude done crossed him out. He done got the gal to hit him up and say that that he was soliciting her, trying to get her to give him some sex and some dope, bring in some dope. So now that we know that she ain't straight, let me tell you something. The game get raw. Now I'm looking at it like, okay, she ain't straight, but we got to do something to get folks out of the hole, and we got to go on and lock her in, right? Because she done showed her hand. See, if she was all the way on the police side, then hands off, persona non grata. You feel me? But that ain't how she got down. She showed her hand that she had come to the dirty side, right? So if she gonna play the dirty game, we gonna play the dirty game with her. So I sent one of my hard hitters out there that don't care nothing about nothing. See, crazy folks don't care nothing about nothing. He go out there, and you got a crazy folks on every compound. You tell them to do something, they're going to do it, and then they're going to always go overboard because they're going to try to get something out of it for themselves, right? So I send crazy folks back there. So crazy folks back there, and he go back and he tell her, he said, we know what you did. We know exactly what you did. And I ain't going to know what you did in the morning. He laying it out to her. He said, we ain't finna play no games with you. He said, you know what it is with us. He said, so you better clean it up and get folks up out the hole and get that vice lord up out this office because we got business we need to be taken care of, or you going to have a problem. And then you're going to end up getting fired. He's breaking her down. He hitting her with all the manipulation moves that we got. So she's sitting back there. Now she started crying. She's panicking. And while crazy folks back there talking to her, the vice lord come back in. He said, man, what's going on? And she look at him all shocked and scared, don't know what to do. So folks walk out. He said, you need to pay attention to what I said. And then he walked past the vice lord dude. He bumping with his shoulder. He letting him know, it's war. We know what you did. We coming. So he walked on out the office and then they shut the door. And I can only imagine what the conversation was like because they stayed in there about 20 minutes. But anyway, when the vice lord come out, he goes straight to the 5-star. The 5-star sent for me. I go talk to the 5-star. The 5-star said, Joe T, we got a problem. I said, what's the problem? He said, man, one of your brothers went out there and threatened the gal. I said, and what? What is the problem? I said, man, y'all done got in the business, man. This gal done crossed out one of our brothers and your brother involved with it. What is the problem? You tell me what the problem is. So he leaned back in the chair, because we was in his room, right? So he leaned back in the chair like he running something. So I closed the space between them. I get right up on him. Let me see your hands, man. He said, Joe T, you tripping? I said, no, let me see your hands, man. We ain't finna play no games. See, when he leaned back in that chair, his hands went down to the side. So I'm assuming that he might be reaching for something. Whether he was or wasn't is irrelevant to me. Let me see your hands, man. So when I closed the space on him, he was like, he ain't no sucker now. You know what I'm saying? So he stood up. He said, Joe T, me and you ain't finna do this, man. He said, we finna settle this. Because he didn't want to go there, and I didn't want to go there either because we got the economy to worry about. I'm telling y'all now, it's a serious thing in the penitentiary when you're dealing with the money. So we stand there and looking at each other, and he said, what do you want to do about this, man? I said, man, get my folks out of the hole, and we're going to end this, right? He said, man, look here, we're going to see what we can do. So I leave the room, and he called the vice lord brother back up into the room. The vice lord brother go back up in the room, and about 10 or 20 minutes go by, and after that, he calls me back up, and he said, man, we finna take care of that. So he sent the vice lord brother back out to the office. He tell the gal, you need to go down front and tell them that did nothing happen. Now she panicking because she done lied to these folks. The vice lord dude done got her to do this, but he trying to save his own ass now. Because if not for what he did, none of this happened. And because of what he did, we about to go to war. And now when the pressure come to bear, he jump it all off on her. Go down there and tell them folks ain't nothing happened. She don't know how to do that. She ain't cut like that. She ain't cut like that. So guess what? She sent for crazy folks. Crazy folks go out there and she tell them, she said, look, how do I do this? What do I need to do? Crazy folks is crazy. He don't know what to do unless somebody tell him what to do. So he said, hold on a second. He comes straight back to me and my number 2 in the cell. And he said, man, she asked me, what does she need to do? So I sat there for a few minutes and I thought about it. I said, look, I don't give a fuck about her and what she got going on. I said, look here, tell her to go down there and tell them that it's been a misunderstanding. That note didn't come from folks. She just found out that it came from somebody else. You feel what I'm saying? I don't give a fuck what name she put on it, whose name she put on it, or whatever the case may be. She need to put that on somebody else and get folks up out that hole because we got dope in that office. We got to get that. We got to get that up out of there. So she go down there. But see, this is what she didn't understand. Internal affairs is not stupid. They let her tell her whole little story and all this and that. Folks still in the hole, right? Because he don't get out till after 7 days. They let her tell her whole little story. They know she lying. They walked her right up off the compound. Right up off the compound immediately. Did I care? No, not at the time. I didn't care. I didn't care at all about none of that because she played on the dirty side. She wanted to get dirty, let's get dirty. My concern is the folks. They let folks up out of the hole after 7 days, right? After he get out of the hole, then guess what happened? Him and the vice lord, they get him up. Y'all already know what it is. That big blue wave. GD. You know what it is. He put hands on him. It got ugly. Like, keep in mind, I ain't on that no more. And the reason I wanted to tell you this story is because it is. You got a lot of people that want to work in the penitentiary. And ain't nothing wrong with that. But you better keep in mind, when you come into a place like this, you're dealing with all kinds. And you get to running your mouth, talking about all of the things that's going on with you at your house and all these type of things. You better keep in mind that some people are going to take advantage of that. That's part of the game. Because in here, for us, it's about surviving. For you, it's on something else. But you better, when you decide to come up in this type of environment, and again, I say this to both sides, the blue and the gray. I say this to both sides. In this environment, anything at any time can happen to you. Anything at any time. She found herself going home without a job. The vice lord dude found himself getting hit in the mouth by the folks. And then his own brothers whooped him because he lost to the folks. You feel what I'm saying? And then we kicked folks' ass. Yeah, we kicked his ass too. And the reason we did that is because at the end of the day, he should have been taking better care of that. Now, I know I told him, look, you overreacting and all this, and I know I told him he sounded like he was a hater, but that ain't the business. The issue is that was his area, and he should have secured it better because we got dope out there. And at the time when I was on all of that, that's what was most important, securing that. I know better now, so I do better now. But again, that's just another example of what this environment is like, just so you'll understand that. Keep that in mind when you decide you want to come this way, because it gets real grimy and dirty up in here. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.